So I am here with Bilal, joining us all the way from the Netherlands. Bilal is the senior director. What's your title? I
I'm a
feel like you
product.
have one of those titles that's never the title
Yeah,
that's
let's.
actually the title for.
You can
So
keep adding stuff. I'm a product manager. I've been a product manager my whole career, and I work on data engineering. So product management is fun. Done it for a while. That's what I do at Databricks.
let's talk about LakeFlow. LakeFlow is one of those things that is either in part or fully kind of under your realm of things that you're working on.
That's right.
So let's start off with the simple question of what is LakeFlow?
Yeah. Um, Great question. So LakeFlow is the unified, streamlined, and performant data engineering product from Databricks. I'm going to tell you exactly what that means in a moment, but really, it's got three parts to it. One part is ingestion, and the mission there, or the idea there, is we want to make it super easy and cost effective to get all the world's data into Databricks. So you can do cool things with it. That includes structured data as well as unstructured data. So for structured data, we have built native incremental connectors. And by incremental, I mean it's truly, taking the latest changes from the source. For anything running at scale, for data engineers out there, it matters. For Salesforce, Workday, NetSuite, Google Analytics 4, and on, the list will grow, as well as databases. And this is kind of my official favorite, because if anybody here has set up Debezium or systems like that to kind of take CDC, like these binary logs, it's like super complicated stuff. With LakeFlow Connect, that's the ingestion portion, this is just point and click. Point and click, connect to it. Everything is governed in Unity Catalog. Connections are stored securely, blah, blah, blah. And then like just the data just starts showing up. The whole idea behind Connect, a LakeFlow Connect, the first piece is set it, forget it, and hopefully it's cost effective and performant for you and you love it. Okay, that's the first piece. The second piece is what do you do with the data once you get it? You clean it, filter, aggregate it. That's actually the ETL piece of LakeFlow, and that's called LakeFlow DLT. You may have known that as Delta Life Tables in the past.
Yep.
And then finally, and by the way, that's a declarative framework. What that means is that you just declare what you want to do. You don't have to worry about orchestration. There's a bunch of cool APIs there for change data capture and SCD type 1 and type 2 records. And then finally, there's LakeFlow Jobs. LakeFlow Jobs is the orchestrator. Now, the smart people among you, those who are using Databricks, will say, wait a second, one of these three is new. The other two sound familiar. That's exactly right. LakeFlow Connect is brand new, built it from scratch on the Archeon acquisition. DLT is the evolution, fully backwards compatible, of Delta Life Tables. And Jobs is the evolution of workflows, which some people also know as jobs. So if you're using DLT and Jobs today, keep using them. They're just going to get better, much better very soon. And if you're not using Connect, you should.
I know you basically equated pipelines to DLTs, which I think is a little bit of an oversimplification. Can you perhaps explain how is DLTs in its current form
Yep.
similar, and how is it different when it comes to the experience of working with DLTs inside of LakeFlow pipelines?
Well, I'll tell you kind of what's the same. So the fundamental idea is still the same. The APIs are still the same. So the fundamental idea behind this whole thing is it's just better to do declarative ETL. Okay, and what declarative ETL, if you use streaming is declarative. SQL is declarative. And the idea behind declarative system is don't tell the system what sort of how to do something, just tell it what to do. And we use declarative systems in our lives every single day. So that part is still the same. There's still a declarative API for doing ETL. Okay, so now what's different, there's a lot of new things under the covers. And we've really gone out of our way to make sure that these are backwards compatible. So let me go through a few. First of all, there's been a lot of focus on price performance. And that's a fancy way of saying it should be more affordable. The second piece is adding some new APIs for flexibility for more use cases. And I can get into that. Just DLT is very opinionated, and sometimes it's been the wrong kind of opinion. It sort of boxes you in. So sometimes it's like, oh, I got started with it. I wish I could do this thing with it. And it's like, oh, you can't. It's too opinionated. So we've gone ahead and just opened some doors here to make it more flexible. I would say the third thing is we've been working on the new developer experience. So I think that's one where, I'm really excited about that. There's a brand new developer experience coming. There's actually super cool stuff. And that really makes it easier for the data engineers to just get their jobs done. And there's some cool new surprises in there. And then the other thing we've been doing that's new is just really making sure that the materialized views and streaming tables that DLT creates, they behave just like normal tables and views, right? So there's a lot of superpowers that streaming tables and MVs have. But in the past, it's been like you couldn't do certain delta operations on these SDs and MVs. Now you can liquid cluster them, you can predictively optimize them. All those things will just work. What that means is you don't have to think about them anymore. I would say those are the things. So those are the things that are new and different that just make it a better platform.
And for me, at least, I've gotten a little bit of the behind the scenes of it, and I would say for me, I think from the outside, the developer experience is what feels very different. It's like, oh, this is actually much more organized, I would say, which is a gift.
And the whole idea behind it is that the development experience, the best developer experience is just get out of your way, right? They let you get your job done. They help you at key steps, but they kind of mostly stay out of your way. So we're excited about that.
So obviously Databricks has a few different partners in the ecosystems, right? In the ecosystem, you have the Fivetrans, you have the Prophecies, you have all these different companies. How is LakeFlow as a whole similar in terms of what they have to offer?
Yep.
And how is it different? Like what are the areas that, hey, there's value to both, to using both?
Okay. Yeah, that's a great question. So I'll sort of give a high level answer, then I'll get into sort of specifics. So I think on a high level, there's the reason why these different products exist is because there's so many different personas and there's so many different types of users who use these. The way I look at the world is, there are these sort of classic data engineers. They're writing Python, they're writing SQL, but really they're building these pipelines in a modularized, testable, productionized way. But you also, on the other end of the spectrum, you also have, just someone like me who might just drop in one day, just do a little analysis that kind of takes off. Maybe it's built visually. And then there's the entire sort of the range in between, right? There are people who build pipelines that ingest data, sort of, using code and testing and all that, and, monitoring and Grafana kind of thing. And then there are users who use, say, Fivetran, and they say point and click, set it and forget it kind of thing. So long-winded answer to say lots of space and lots of space for partners. The fundamental idea behind LakeFlow is to unify and simplify what Databricks has in the box, right? That's the fundamental idea. It actually removes very little space from the ecosystem. And let's take a case study, right? Let's take ingestion for a second. The average customer of Databricks I'd be shocked if they have less than 40 or 50 data sources, right? So, and these are, there's often common ones like Salesforce and, some sort of database. But then there's like all kinds of legacy, legacy systems. Some guy named Josue wrote a system like 20 years ago. We still have data in that. We need to get that in as a proprietary SOAP API of some kind because we all used to do like, WebRPC back in the day. So if you think about LakeFlow Connect will help you will definitely help you with the Salesforce connector. It will help you with the SQL Server connector. And then there's this long tail of things that it won't help you with. And it probably doesn't make sense for Databricks to build these connectors anyway. There's hundreds, maybe thousands of them, and to maintain them. That's where, Fivetran is a great choice. And if you're already using Fivetran, you continue to use it. I can take another cut at it, and I can say, well, how about DBT? Isn't, DLT just like DBT? And that comes up a lot, and the answer is absolutely not. They're both declarative frameworks, but, DBT has a massive open source community. It's very warehouse-centric. It's very batch processing-centric, whereas yes, DLT is a declarative framework which is native to Databricks. It's not super warehouse-centric, but it does unify batch and streaming. And the answer here is a little bit nuanced because you can actually use materialized views and streaming tables inside DBT projects. So we look for opportunities where we can make things work better together. Long answer short, I think there's a lot of space in both ingestion, transformation, and orchestration for different partners. We actually work really closely with all the companies I've mentioned, including Prophecy. So, if you're looking for a great low-code tool and you want to sort of superpower your team, go use Prophecy. It's a great tool. It works natively with Databricks. But definitely there will be areas where they overlap. I'm not going to lie about that. There are definitely areas of overlap. But that's pretty normal in the products across the industry.
Yeah, no, and I have I have more than a few good friends at Prophecy. I have lots of love for them. Very
Yeah,
awesome people.
indeed, it's a great product.
So thinking away from like the pure product and Databricks side,
Mhm.
but more specifically as within the realm of product management, when you look back as to how Delta Life tables were originally released to where things are headed with LakeFlow, what are some of the lessons I think that the team has learned from a pure product standpoint as well as from a customer feedback standpoint?
That's a great question. I've having spent the last couple of years on this, I can share a few reflections from a product perspective. I think one is paradigms, like or declarative, for example, as a paradigm. It takes a long time to deliver on its value, but when it does, it's massive, right? So I do think so. One of my learnings is that to build something that is a fundamental change in the industry, just be prepared to double and triple down on it. It's just going to take you a while to get there. And I'm not talking about revenue growth. It's phenomenal for the ELT. I'm not talking about adoption. That's superb. It's just more like there's like always more to do. And you always go, gosh, I'm almost there. But because it's such a fundamental shift in the way we work and its promise is so large, it just takes time to get there. I would say the second one is, it's going to sound pedestrian, but listen to your customers. So one of the things I'm really proud of is that this team listens a lot to customers and we talk a lot to them. I mean, including you, by the way, we're talking a lot, right, to get feedback from you. But the key here is to get unpunished feedback, right? So don't pitch to your customers, just listen. Just ask them what's wrong, what's broken, what's not working for you. When that happens, it's really magical, and just do more of that. I would say the third lesson is sort of a product management lesson learned is that things that simplify the experience often sit on top of the stack. For example, DLT is sort of a top of the stack. If you go all the way down, it's Spark and Compute and things like that. But DLT just abstracts a lot of that away. Customers don't care. So when there's a problem with Spark or Autoloader or Compute, customers, and I'm using DLT, it's DLT's problem. It's the DLT team's problem. So the lesson for product managers is that customers don't care that it's somewhere, 5 teams away or 5 time zones away. You have to make sure that they get the right experience, but they also get their issues are resolved.
And I will even take that a step further and say customers don't even care whether it's DLT or whatever. They care Databricks this is not working.
That's exactly right. So and simple things often hide a lot of complexity under the hood. That's been really fun to build out.
Doubling down and tripling down, but at the same time, listening to your customer feedback. How do you balance between the two? Because sometimes as a company, you do make bets that are like, oh shoot, that was a dumb bet that we made. How do you balance that vision that you have, perhaps all the way up from the Elise, from the Arcelons, from the Reynolds, and from the Mateys? How do you balance then your vision, and how do you balance that with, okay, this is what the customers are telling us?
I'll sort of be a bit transparent with you, right? So we've heard feedback about DLT, right? So for example, one of the pieces of feedback we heard sort of in a rising crescendo was, hey, the errors are really bad, or they're super obscure and they're hard to understand, right? So the really important thing here is that Ali doesn't matter, Bilal doesn't matter, Ronald doesn't matter. The customer actually matters the most. So I think what you do is you become truth seeking and you stay truth seeking. And what that really means is that the customer's voice is king and the customer's experience is actually what ultimately matters. So vision doesn't count for a whole lot if you can't execute on it. So the doubling and tripling down is actually on customer feedback. So there's another side to the customer feedback, which is, gosh, this is so useful. Oh, this just took away 20 hours worth of work. So this very common feedback on DLT is, oh my gosh, I would have built this would have taken me 3 more engineers and twice the time if this was Airflow or PySpark. but the errors are really bad, or I wish it was a better developer experience. Can you guys fix that? So that's the truth seeking. So they're doubling and tripling down. You have to have the upside, right? You have to be like, hey, customers really love it, but we got to fix these sharp edges. We got to file them away. That comes from being truth seeking, right? You can't take something that if customers are saying, gosh, this is terrible, it doesn't even work, that's probably not something you should double or triple down on. But if they are saying it's phenomenal, but I need you to fix these things, then you can double and triple down on it.